Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into what it really means to live with celiac disease. We're going to get past the fad diet headlines and look at a serious condition where the only treatment is a diet that's incredibly difficult to follow.
So what if I told you there was a lifelong, essential medicine that almost half of all patients just couldn't take properly? Well, for people with celiac disease, that's not a hypothetical.
You see, for the 1 in 100 people around the globe living with celiac, their medicine is a strict gluten-free diet. And studies show that only about 55% of them can stick to it perfectly. That's a huge problem, and it's the challenging reality they have to navigate every single day.
Okay, so let's break this down. What exactly is celiac disease? And why is the prescription, which sounds so simple, just go gluten-free, actually one of the most complicated dietary challenges a person can possibly face?
So at its core, celiac is an autoimmune disorder. This means when someone who has it eats gluten, the protein in wheat, rye, and barley, their own immune system gets confused and attacks the lining of their small intestine. This isn't just a little indigestion. This damage actually stops the body from absorbing nutrients, which can cause a whole host of really serious health issues.
So you'd think the treatment is easy, right? Just stop eating bread and pasta. But that's the expectation. The reality is way more complex. Gluten is basically a master of disguise. It's used as a filler or a thickener in thousands of products you would never, ever suspect.
And look, you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from a leading expert, Dr. Daniel Leffler, really hits it home. He says there's basically no such thing as a gluten-free diet. The best anyone can really do, he says, is a gluten-restricted diet. It's just that pervasive.
So, as you can imagine, this need to be constantly on guard, it creates these huge, often invisible burdens that go way beyond just what's on your dinner plate. Let's take a look at what those really are.
First up, the financial hit is just staggering. Research has shown that certified gluten-free products are, on average, 183% more expensive. That's not a typo. We're talking nearly triple the cost for everyday foods.
And then there's the mental gymnastics of constantly hunting for that hidden gluten. It's in spice blends, it's used to thicken soups and sauces, it's in salad dressings, even some processed meats. It requires a level of detective work at the grocery store that most of us just can't fathom.
And all of this, well, it takes a massive psychological toll. We see higher rates of anxiety and depression in celiac patients. There's this constant fear of getting sick by accident, this social isolation when you can't just go out to eat with friends, and a real sense of grief for losing that spontaneity in your favorite foods. It's heavy stuff.
I think this quote from a patient just says it all, really. It feels like you're constantly trying to adapt to a world that just wasn't made with your medical needs in mind.
But, okay, while these challenges are absolutely huge, it's not an impossible situation. So let's shift gears and look at the essential toolkit that people use to navigate this world and manage the disease successfully.
And the first thing to know is that this is not a solo journey. It really takes a team. The best care involves a gastroenterologist for the medical stuff, a specialized dietitian for the food plan, and, importantly, a mental health professional to help with the very real psychological burden.
Now at home, your kitchen basically has to become a safety zone. Preventing cross-contact from even a single crumb is everything. We're talking dedicated toasters, separate cutting boards, its own shelf in the pantry, and just being super rigorous about cleaning everything.
And when you're out in the world, it's all about planning ahead. Little things make a huge difference, like calling a restaurant beforehand, bringing your own safe dish to a potluck, or even being the very first person in line at a buffet to avoid those contaminated serving spoons.
Now, of course, like in so many parts of our lives, people are turning to technology for help with all this.
So the big question is, can these new tools actually lighten the load? Can an app or some portable gadget really reduce that daily grind of being so vigilant?
Well, let's look at the two main options out there. On one hand, you've got these AI-powered apps. They scan labels on packaged foods, and they're incredibly accurate. One study found 99%. But they only work on packaged foods. On the other hand, you have these portable sensors that promise to test any food right on the spot. Sounds amazing, but the big question mark is their reliability.
And this slide really shows you why reliability is such a big deal. In a study, researchers took food they knew had gluten in it and tested it. A popular sensor failed to find that gluten over 31% of the time. Think about that. It gave a false negative, a dangerous all clear, on nearly a third of the contaminated foods.
So what's the bottom line here? Technology is for sure a powerful tool.
It's a great thing to have in your toolkit, but it's not a magic wand. It can't replace the deep knowledge and the careful, consistent habits that are still absolutely necessary.
Which brings us to the real takeaway. Successfully managing celiac disease is so much more than a diet. It's this complex, ongoing journey that really demands a combination of expert medical care, solid nutritional science, and just incredible psychological resilience.
And that leaves us with one final, and I think hopeful question to chew on. The reality today is tough, no doubt. But as technology gets better, as food labeling improves, and as public awareness grows, you have to wonder if we're moving towards a future where this immense burden might finally be made just a little bit lighter.
For folks with celiac disease, going gluten-free isn't a fad, it's medicine. So let's break it down.
So what is it exactly? Celiac is an immune reaction to gluten. You know, that protein in wheat and rye. And right now, there's only one way to treat it: a strict 100% gluten-free diet for your entire life.
Okay, so here's what we're covering: the challenges, the hidden costs, and your toolkit for thriving with it. First big challenge: avoiding hidden gluten. It's not just in bread, it's practically everywhere you look.
I mean, it pops up in the most unexpected places. Sauces, soups, even some medicines. Pretty wild, right?
So what about at home? Could something as simple as a shared toaster actually be a problem?
Well, one study said the risk is low, but most doctors still say you should play it safe. And eating out is a whole other minefield. You've got shared kitchens, which means cross-contamination is a huge risk.
Living like this, always on high alert, takes a real toll. It's about so much more than food.
And the financial hit is just massive. Gluten-free stuff can cost almost 3 times as much as regular food.
So with that high cost and complexity, it's no surprise nearly half of patients find it tough to stick to.
Which brings us to a crucial point. This is way more than a diet. It's a huge life shift.
But here's the good news. You are not alone. There are real tools to help you manage and live well.
It all starts in your kitchen. Making your home base safe is absolutely fundamental for living a gluten-free life.
And of course, technology is stepping up to help. There are some powerful tools you can just carry around.
Take portable gluten sensors. They promise peace of mind, but the reality is actually a little more complicated. Tech is great, but you also need a human support team. Experts say it's the best way to go. Because really, the goal isn't just about what you can't eat. It's about learning how to thrive with celiac.
It's all about finding that personal balance. Yeah, it takes some extra planning, but you can still live fully.
And a huge piece of the puzzle is your support system. Connecting with people who just get it is key.
So where's this all headed? Is a strict diet really going to be the only answer forever?
For now, the diet is it. But science is moving really fast, and there's a lot of hope out there.